But obviously, I think at this point, it is as close to a universal consensus as any issue ever is that George W. Bush lied us into an aggressive war of choice. If you launch an aggressive war, the responsibility for these young dead Americans is on George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. Right. Like, no matter who it was who made the bombs anyway. Just saying, right. I think all of that is important to.
Well, and you're totally right. And in specific here is David Petraeus, who launched this attack against Muqtada al-Sadr.
Right.
Not because Muqtada al-Sadr was the cat's paw of Tehran. That was the alibi. In fact, it was Skiri and Dawa were the two Shiite groups that were more tied to Iran. They had been the traitors who had fled Iraq and lived in Iran for 20 years and had fought on Iran's side in the Iran-Iraq war. Sadr had stayed, and Sadr was telling America and Iran to go to hell and leave Iraq to the Iraqis. So the Americans preferred the pro-Iran Shiite parties, hoping that ultimately they would need us, our money, and our guns more than they would need their Iranian friends next door. Because the Shiite leader who was least favorable toward Iran was also unfavorable toward the United States. And so instead of saying, okay, well, at least this guy's a nationalist, he wants to compromise with the Sunnis, let the Iraqis have Iraq and let's get the hell out of here. And at least he wants to kick the Iranians out too, at least to some degree, wants to limit their influence. That's good. No, instead it was, we have to stay, we have to marginalize him. And in fact, de facto, empower the pro-Iranian factions at his expense, because we hope that we'll have our way with them more, better later, which is not how it worked out. So the whole thing was completely crazy. And by the way, speaking of W. Bush, he did not go for it. This giant conspiracy between Cheney and Petraeus and Michael Gordon to lie him into striking Iranian Quds Force targets inside the country and dragging us into a war. He said, forget it. And so did the commander of Central Command, Admiral William Fallon, said, over my dead body, are we going to war with Iran right now? We got 300,000 troops in Iraq who are all dead meat, Order 66 style. If we do this, we're not doing it. And Bush backed down. And I know this one sounds crazy, Dave, but I got 3 good sources for it. David Wormser, the author of The Clean Break, Dick Cheney's Middle East advisor, was going around blabbing in Washington